FSD version 14 is actually here. It did come out to early release or early beta testers, as well as some other folks, it seems. From X, it does seem like it's a decent release to a decent amount of people, although it's hard to tell because obviously the people that are vocal on X are typically people that are, more influencers or early beta tester people as well. So we'll see when it actually gets to our car. But in the meantime, I wanted to go over the uh, update itself as far as what is included in this update. And hopefully, it will be something that helps a lot of the situations that we currently have in our Model Y on FSD 13.2.9. So I will put the release notes up on the screen so you can follow along, but I'm basically going to go through some of the things that I'm most interested in. Namely, first one here is that it actually does have options for when it arrives at the destination, what you want it to do, whether you want it to park in the parking lot or on the street, in the driveway, or in a parking garage. So, or it can just pull up to the curbside. That's going to be very good because right now, one of the biggest problems we have with 13.2.9 is that it actually does not what you want to do for that destination. It'll just basically, sometimes it parks at the curb, sometimes it attempts to go into a space, and when it does try to go into a space, it actually does a very poor job. It almost always straddles two spaces, which is ridiculous. From initial impressions on people that have the version 14 in their car already, it does appear that it actually will park correctly in a space, which is very good news. And I would be interested to see if it would be able to park in our garage. And also, I do have that test for the parking garage that we can see if it will correctly navigate in and out of the parking garage that we did do the other day, 13.2.9, which basically it just got stuck in the parking garage. So we'll see if that is going to work with version 14. Also, it's supposed to pull over for emergency vehicles such as police cars, fire trucks, and ambulances. Obviously, that is something that is very needed for robotaxi because it should follow all the rules and get out of the way of those vehicles. That's very important. Uh, you know, even human drivers don't often do what they're supposed to do in those situations, but this should handle that. And I didn't see any mention of school zones, so we'll have to see if school zones are actually going to be supported or not in version 14, but that is one other thing that I am going to be looking out for. It's going to be very hard to catch a situation where there's an emergency vehicle on camera because it's pretty rare, at least in my area, for me to come across that situation. So I'll just have to get lucky with that if I happen to get it on video. So we'll see about that. And then this one also called out is the added navigation and routing into the vision-based neural network for real-time handling of blocked roads and detours. So that is basically supposed to work better with blocked roads and, anytime where there's detours or blocked roads, it should actually bring that into the car for its navigation decisions and for the actual rerouting and everything. So that could be really good. I'm also hoping that it manages parking lots and destinations better because of the navigation stuff, and it's actually using some of the navigation to determine how it's supposed to navigate, and with the parking and curbside options, hopefully that'll help with our destinations where right now it doesn't actually get to the destinations. So that city barbecue loop that I tried out, it just gets stuck in a loop going around, can't seem to find the parking lot. Hopefully it'll be smarter about the navigation and the context of what you want to do in the situation. So hopefully if it's, you give it the option to park in the parking lot, it will see that it is at the destination and park. We'll see if that happens or not. There are some added speed profiles. So you have everything from sloth to hurry. And so we have one added speed profile, that sloth mode. I will see what that's like. Obviously, it's supposed to be slow. It probably just drives the speed limit pretty much most of the time and is otherwise very similar because it's smooth and everything, but it'll probably always stay in the right lane, that sort of thing. And supposedly those speed profiles are also going to be better about as far as maintaining either, the speed limit up to some amount of miles per hour over the speed limit. So hurry mode would obviously be the most, but it should be more in tune with the actual speed instead of just basically the aggressiveness. The other thing that we've actually tested and was an edge case for us was a chain across the road. And it actually does say, it calls that out specifically for improved ability to manage those situations where there is something blocking the road, so a dynamic or static gate. So I see that as being the arm, like if you're going into a gated community or something and there's an arm that goes up and down, it needs to be able to handle those. In past versions, it has struggled to see those because it's thin horizontal blocking of a roadway. It sometimes misses that. So hopefully it's going to be able to detect those. We'll have to check it out and see if we can detect like the caution tape, and if we can find those chains again sometime, see if we can see those chains blocking a roadway. That would be great. And also improved offsetting for road debris. So that should be, hopefully that's on interstate, because I haven't seen too much trouble with it moving around stuff, road debris on the side streets, but on interstate, it is sometimes, it doesn't seem like it's going to do anything at all. So I had to disengage FSD a few times just to get around road debris on the interstate, which is actually the most important place. You definitely don't want to hit, a tire or something at 70 miles per hour. It's really bad. It can be very dangerous. So some of these other things, it is supposed to handle school buses and lane changes, unprotected lefts. The school buses, again, definitely needs to be able to handle those properly. And so hopefully it'll do the school zones as well as the buses, but we will see. And so basically, those are most of the main improvements. These are all of the things that were right on the edges of where FSD was good for the bulk of the middle of the drive, but the ends of the drive, so starting out and especially when it arrives at the destination, that was the part where it often would get tripped up. So it would have a hard time navigating the parking lot, or it would end up parking some crazy position or stopping at a curbside when really you don't want it to do that in that particular scenario. So these are the things that are definitely going to make version 14 be hopefully the one that we need to get to unsupervised, although there's no word yet on whether we're going to have any decreased attention monitoring or anything like that, at least not in 14.1, which is what is now available. So stay tuned. Hopefully we will get it soon, and I'll be able to do testing on these particular edge cases that I found in my area, and hopefully we will see much improvement. So that's it for this one. Thanks so much for watching, and we'll catch you on the next one.